just told me he's I don't get you.
Good afternoon. Chairman DeFrancesco, Senator Flanagan, Assemblymember Nolan, Senator Montgomery, Senator Kruger, and Assemblymember Oaks, and distinguished members of the legislature. I am Tim Kelly. I am chair of the 4201 Schools Association and superintendent of St. Mary's School for the Deaf in Buffalo, New York. The 4201 schools are committed to meeting the needs of some of New York's most needy children. Our theme today would be to be part of the solution and to say thank you. So if there's two signs to remember, it would be thank you and part of the solution. There are 11 privately operated and publicly supported schools serving approximately 1,500 blind, deaf, and severely disabled children. Schools are located in Erie, Nassau, Monroe, Suffolk, Westchester, and as well as the city of New York. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you regarding the challenges facing the 4201 schools as we transition our funding system from a direct appropriation to a per pupil charge, a PPC system enacted last year, and the impact of the 2012-2013 executive budget proposal. To begin, I would first like to thank the Senate and the Assembly for your remarkable support of our schools during last year's budget discussions. With you by our side, we reinforce the message that children with low incidence disabilities, deafness, blindness, or physical disabilities, special education services, and their core communication components are a fundamental educational right, not an indulgence. The Schools for the Deaf, Blind, and Physically Disabled have been partners with New York State for close to 200 years. This partnership is closer than ever because of the support you showed our students last year, so thank you. I would also like to express my appreciation to New York State Education Department Commissioner John King, Chief Operating Officer Valerie Gray, and their staff. Our transition to an entirely new funding has brought new challenges, of which I will speak about shortly, but without the assistance of NYS these challenges would have been more difficult to overcome. We are grateful for our partnership with NYS and the 4201 schools feel that Dr. King and Valerie Gray and her staff do exemplary work. As I have stated, implementation of a new funding system is not without its challenges, the largest of which is the need for all stakeholders to be fully educated on the changes and the new responsibilities affecting our schools. One of those issues is the district of residence. And one of the easiest ways I can explain this is in my school at St. Mary's, when a student transfers, and they often transfer in 4201 schools, where the student started their educational services is responsible for the payment to the 4201 schools as opposed to the district where the student resides presently. So for example, in Western New York, we had a student who in 2002 entered St. Mary's from the Newfane School District. He spent about 6 years in Newfane, then transferred to the Royalton Heartland School District. Right now, he lives in the Royalton Heartland School District, and the Newfane School District is responsible for payment for that student. We also have a similar example in the Lockport School District, which we now bill for 7 students at a total of about $575,000, and there's only 3 of those students actually are from the Lockport School District. The confusion did cause a delay and start a cash flow problem for some of our schools. We are proposing that the statute be amended to require that the child's current district of residence be responsible for the expense of a student attending a 4201 school. As with everything, some school districts have understood their responsibility and been timely and accurate in their payments. Other school districts have not been as efficient. My school in Buffalo, we bill over 40 school districts and submit invoices, and cash flow becomes a problem when districts delay payments or simply don't pay. Ms. Val Gray of the State Education Department is both responsive and action-oriented, sending several communications to the state's public school superintendents regarding their applications, and we hope that these communications will assist and expedite the payments. And I can tell you they have. Just as I walked in today, we have received payments from school districts in Western New York, so we are grateful for that. In the meantime, some of the 4201 schools are approaching the cap on their various independent secured lines of credit and are incurring interest expenses that they have never experienced. We are making difficult decisions each day. For example, the 4201 schools have annually paid the ERS, or Employment Retirement Systems, in December to take advantage of that early payment incentive. With the current payment challenge, most of the schools have not collected enough to make their payment. Subsequently, we will have to pay the higher amount in February. This unanticipated expense exacerbates our cash flow problem, in some cases erases gains we have made through our efforts to be part of the state's fiscal solution by reducing costs through strategic purchasing initiatives or other cost-cutting strategies. With regard to the 2012-2013 executive budget, we are grateful to the governor. He has maintained his commitment to reimburse school districts for the costs associated with sending a student to our school. Every sector of education is facing challenges, and we know that the new funding system has caused a strain on school districts as they are faced with new expenses. Yet school districts have committed their commitment to students who are deaf, blind, and physically disabled. They have maintained their investment in these students' educations by partnering with our schools to provide high-quality education opportunity in a language-rich environment. We consider our LRE, our least restrictive environment, to be a language-rich environment, and specifically in two programs. One is our deaf infant program, and the other is our residential program. Our deaf infant program, again, we're grateful to the governor that the executive budget also continues its commitment to our deaf infant program and to our residential facilities. The deaf infant programs are essential to assuring parents that they have access to communication and services at an early age in their child's development. I know at our school we've had students as young as 3 months old, and developing language is critical. Inherent to deafness or a hearing impairment are communication disabilities, our language issues, and our students are often playing catch-up. The deaf infant program allows students to get to where they need to be when they enter the schools and through their school-age Committee on Special Education. Staff members are certified and licensed in specific areas of expertise and have unique qualifications to serve children with hearing loss in these programs, and the ultimate goal is to have each student reach his or her full potential and be a productive citizen in New York State. Our residential programs are in 4 of our schools: the Lexington School in Queens, the Institute for Special Education in the Bronx, Rochester School for the Deaf, and St. Mary's School for the Deaf in Buffalo. These schools with residential programs offer opportunities for students who do not have placement options close to home and give their families an option where they can return on the weekends yet receive their services at the appropriate placement, which is agreed upon by the CSE of the sending school district. Students come from all over the state to our programs, and our residential programs have a strong focus on improving each student's academic performance and overall academic achievement. Likewise, the physical well-being and safety needs of our students are always a first priority. Our schools have 24-hour nursing around the clock, and our secure environments where staff and students create a home-like atmosphere. In regards to the state's action to limit administrative costs and executive compensation, the 4201 schools would like to add our voice to the concerns that many expressed on the governor's proposals. We are bound by a cost reimbursement manual, and we are bound by a 70-30 indirect direct expense, and we look at our budget lines every day to make sure that those requirements are met and that the compensation of each staff member does not exceed what the governor proposes. So in closing, I want to remain grateful to the legislature, the senator, and to the governor for your ongoing support and interest in our schools. I would invite you to visit one of the schools, and I know many of you have, and we appreciate that. We want to really be part of the solution and thank you. So the two signs of the day are thank you, and we want to continue to be part of the solution of these schools. I did not sign the full presentation here. I'm not a certified interpreter. I'm a teacher of the deaf. So in regards to time is why I did not sign the full presentation. But I'm open for questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just a comment. Ms. Kelly, my wife is a sign language interpreter, so I know when she's talking about me, even when she's not saying anything. But the other thing is, you're absolutely right about SED, and they have tried. Last year, we took a difficult situation and made it better. But I would say to you respectfully, the only person that's worked harder than Val Gray is B.J. Costello, who does an outstanding job for you.
I would agree with you, Senator. He does a tremendous job, and Val Gray and John King as well. And I think for the sake of our students, what has happened here in New York State was a very good thing.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next.